was watching a video by a YouTuber named Richard Volbs, and he was talking about the fact that a friend of his had been very judgmental, had been ridiculing Richard for not wanting to take the magic juice, the magic potion, as he said, over the last 2 years. And now, 2 years later, now that the friend has seen, more evidence that there are adverse reactions, more evidence that the science was flawed and faulty, now he's apologizing to Richard for having been so harsh on him. And Richard says that in a case like that, those individuals who were, quote, hesitant, unquote, who were suspicious of the science, should forgive those who were swept up in the hysteria. And that's a good sentiment. I agree with it to some degree, that, there's room for forgiveness for those people who didn't know any better and were swept up. But at the same time, it occurs to me that unless his friend has developed since then the ability to think critically, the ability to think logically, the ability to has made a decision to have a certain set of non-negotiables, a certain set of standards for his decision making, then it's likely to happen again. What hasn't changed, and what Richard didn't mention, his friend said that now he has the ability to think critically and think independently and be his own authority. So it occurs to me that that sort of thing is going to happen again. There'll be another situation, whether it's another pandemic or whether it's an attack, from another country or some threat from outer space or whatever. There's going to come another situation where the mass hysteria takes over. People are encouraged to do a certain thing, maybe give up certain freedoms, and those who don't are ridiculed and lambasted and made to feel that they are the enemy. So unless his friend has developed a certain set of principles, a certain set of non-negotiables in his decision making, then it's likely to happen again. So what needs to change is people need to develop that ability to say, okay, this is what I believe in. These are my standards. These are my non-negotiables. These are the sort of principles I live by. And it doesn't matter what the 6 o'clock news says. It doesn't matter what the doctors say. Now, I know to a lot of people that seems odd, but that's only because they have put too much emphasis, too much importance, too much weight on what the experts say and don't give themselves enough credit for making certain decisions. So as a quick example, it doesn't matter what the 6 o'clock news says. I am not eating meat. I'm not eating eggs. Doesn't matter if the 6 o'clock news says, or the latest study says that eggs are now good for you or eggs are bad for you. It doesn't matter. I've made my decision. I have enough information. I have my own experience that I feel better and have more energy when I am vegan and vegetarian. So it doesn't matter what any new experts say about meat. I've made that decision. It doesn't matter what anyone says about GMO. I've made a decision that nature is perfect, not men and women in lab coats and pharmaceuticals. So no one can convince me that a pharmaceutical is better or that a canned food is GMO food is better than a natural food. There may be certain circumstances where one is practically better to have than another. We talk maybe the natural one is poisoned, so it would be better to eat a canned food. So you make those decisions as they come along. But in general, there are certain principles and guidelines that I live by that are inviolate. So no one is going to convince me otherwise. So that's why I can make a decision about whether to take the magic juice or not. And it doesn't matter what the science says. My principles stay the same. And that's my decision. And I live by the consequences. So again, much respect to Mr. Volbs and his decision to be forgiving of his friend. But I would caution anyone in a similar position to be wary, because it's just going to take another situation, another threat before that sort of hysteria happens again and people start to be divided into the camps of the doers and the resistors and the resistance, and then you're going to have that friction again. So anyway, just a thought I thought I'd share with you, and I'll see you in the next video.